Let me bring in Larry Cohen, President of the Communication Workers of America. It's not just manufacturing. It's going to hit the service industry as well. Mr. Cohen, your response to the president saying that the TPP will make things better for American workers, and he knows that other trade deals were bad and this one's going to be better. I mean, that just simply isn't true, is it?
No, it's all about enforcement. And the problem is that when a multinational corporation wants to enforce their version of the trade deal, they sue, as Sherrod Brown just said, in a secret tribunal called ISDS, where they can get reparations of billions of dollars. There are 500 of those lawsuits now. And when we try to enforce a labor or environmental or consumer provision, we have to go through our government to the other government, and it literally takes years. I've been involved in that enforcement with Mexico, Colombia, and recently Honduras. It takes years. And when we talk about China, the government of Vietnam doesn't want to see investor-state dispute settlement in these deals. That's the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. So if our goal is to get Vietnam closer to us, let's get rid of ISDS and let's put citizen rights on the same level as corporate rights.
So what is President Obama referring to when he says China's going to write the rules? What rules is he talking about? They've been the biggest cheaters on all these trade agreements.
He's talking about the fact that these are countries that geographically and geopolitically do have links to China. But again, what we would say to him, what I have said to him is, then let's get rid of investor-state dispute settlement. Those governments, the 4 or 5 governments that we don't already have deals with, Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, Vietnam, they don't want investor-state in these things, and neither do we. Because if a U.S. company can guarantee their profits in Vietnam, why will they invest in the U.S. when Vietnam has 75-cent an hour wages? And in the U.S., obviously, the minimum wage is significantly higher, but not high enough. We don't think this adds up any way you add it.
How does the president expect American officials to enforce trade laws in Vietnam? What's the mechanism there? It's never been done before. How is it going to be done now?
He expects the future U.S. trade representative and whatever agency it is of the U.S. government that has jurisdiction, whether it's labor or environment, to eventually write a report on complaints that we could make or others, and then go to that government with a report saying, we want you to live up to the agreement. Again, the problem is, even if that were true, it takes years and years. And the reason the U.S. Chamber is supporting this is because they get to sue for reparations. We don't get any reparations for what happens to workers. All we get is a report.
All right. President Obama specifically responded to labor leaders in his Vox interview. Here it is.
When I talk to labor organizations, I say, right now, we've been hugely disadvantaged. Why would we want to maintain the status quo? If we can organize a new trade deal in which a country like Vietnam, for the first time, recognizes labor rights, and those are enforceable, that's a big deal.
Mr. Cohen, your response to that?
My response is, again, having just been in Honduras, before that Colombia, is years to enforce labor rights. When people are killed, when there's no right to organize, when the minimum wage isn't enforced, we can't wait for years to enforce it. And I do think that Vietnam, because they want this deal, may well make some changes. Mexico's not going to make the changes. We want to see how are we going to enforce this deal in the same kind of time that corporate America is going to enforce their side. So we either say, get rid of investor-state dispute, one-way lawsuits from the corporate world, and put us all on a level playing field, or give us investor state so that citizen state dispute settlement so that we can sue when workers are disadvantaged.
All right. Larry Cohen, President of Communication Workers of America, always a pleasure. Good to have you with us.